Tips with Toni. Tips with Toni. All about nutrition from your favorite dietitian. Everything you need to digest in your mind. Tips with Toni. Tips with Toni. Making you healthier one bite at a time. With Toni. Woo.
Hello, and welcome to the Tips with Toni podcast. I'm Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time. So if you don't know, how I help my clients the most is through mindful eating. I really just help them pay attention to their eating habits, and I probe the right questions in helping them to assess how they feel about their food choices and then how to make better ones that align with their goals and their values, which we establish before every single time we get on the call together. I wanted to share with you actually the 5 main questions that I have them ask themselves when trying to decide if in fact they made the best choice, or before choosing something to eat, how to assess if they should eat or how much of that they should eat. Someone recently asked me if you can give like one basic concept that you want everyone to know when it comes to how to be effective, how to effectively either lose weight or, help be healthy and really more focus on like their well-being, what would that be? And so my question always has been is instead of trying to follow a diet or a meal plan, follow how foods make you feel. I really want you to start paying attention to portion sizes, timing of meals, combinations of food, the way certain foods are prepared, grilled versus fried or sauteed and steamed, and then ask yourself these questions. All right. So if you're driving, you might want to just pay attention for now and then go back and maybe write this down or, I would just say go back later and write this down. So the first question always is before choosing to eat something is to ask yourself, am I hungry? Right? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like, I am so full right now. So maybe you're in the middle of eating and you're thinking, should I have another plate? I am so full right now. I'm going to pop. Like that's a 10 versus a 1 is so famished that you can't focus. You're going to faint. You're super dizzy. You have no energy. Like that's a 1. Okay. So ask yourself, how hungry am I? And if you're closer to if you're below 5, then it's definitely you want to eat and you want to actually avoid ever getting to below that 5, that 5 mark, because when you go below that, that's when you start to you can get really dizzy and you can get hangry, and it can lead to overeating or being hangry, aka being a brat, how I can be very short-tempered. So you want to make sure that, before you eat, you're probably at around a 5 or a 6. And then you probably want to try to pay attention to stop eating at a 7 maximum, a 7 or an 8. Okay. So that's a really good way to assess, how hungry am I? Do I want this? Someone else once used, actually a lot of people use this, the broccoli test, and it helps a lot with emotional eating. If you're someone who you find yourself, you're just going to the refrigerator because maybe you're bored or you're sad or you're upset and you're just you want to eat and you catch yourself in the moment and you realize, you know what, I'm really not that hungry. Or you're like, I don't know, am I hungry? Well, if you would eat a bowl of broccoli, you're hungry, okay? So if the answer is, would I eat a bowl of broccoli right now? Then yeah, you're hungry. So that's how you can kind of assess, rather than using the scale, that would be an easier thing to answer. Are you hungry enough to eat a bowl of broccoli? Because I don't know. I mean, I do love broccoli, but not everybody loves it. And it's not the most appetizing thing ever, especially depending on how you prepare it. But so that's one general question I have my clients ask is on a scale of 1 to 10, how hungry am I? And then when you finish eating, obviously ask yourself that question again before you go for seconds, right? The follow-up questions, believe it or not, are the most important because I believe that this is the feedback that only your body can really tell you. So I can guide and I can educate based off of personal experience, professional experience, and reading the science and the literature. But really, your body is unique to you. And so this is how I help my clients to create literally an individualized plan that's specific for them and nobody else, because they're the ones being able to dictate what that food should look like, how their meal should look. So the next question is to, obviously, after you follow up and saying, like, am I hungry? Am I full? That's kind of like a 2-part question. The next question was to kind of add to that was like, did I need that? Was that something was that nutritionally sound? Is that something that I really needed? Was my body really looking for, maybe you had pasta with cheese and chicken, but you didn't put any vegetables. Like, did you need all of that, or did you maybe need some broccoli with it, right? And some balance it out. And that's for your body to tell you, right? And your body will tell you. Might not tell you in that moment, but like 20 minutes later, it's going to tell you. You're going to feel either super full, or you're going to feel like, oh, I'm not really satisfied, or you're going to feel like, oh, I probably, I know that I feel better when I have like vegetables on the plate. I probably should have added that. So you're going to be able to tell after, right? So the question is, did I need that? And if the answer is no, so say you didn't need chicken parmesan, right? The next question would be, did I enjoy that? Because sometimes, and if you guys listen to my episode, I'm not sure if I released it yet or when it's coming out, but I just posted an episode about, the cheat meals. Like, sometimes we eat food because it's enjoyable. It's not always going to be super nutritious, right? So if your answer to the question is, did I need that, is no, then the question is, did I enjoy that? And if the answer is yes, and you had the portion that you felt that was really enjoyable, that was well worth it, that didn't leave you bloated and sluggish after, then you can feel really good, and you can then know that when I have maybe the whole rest of the day you eat really well, really balanced, and that you allow room for that chicken parmesan and pasta with no vegetables, right? But you truly enjoyed it, and you know that it's not something you do on a regular basis, then that's really awesome. Then you should really, there's no reason to feel guilty about it. Like, not every single meal has to be super balanced, but because you eat really balanced throughout the day and throughout the week and on a regular basis, and you didn't go completely overboard, maybe you could have totally had like a loaf of bread with that, or you could have gone for seconds when it came to the pasta, but because you had, your portioned amount, you actually did enjoy that. And so that's definitely a question that you want to ask. You want to ask yourself, if the answer was no, you didn't enjoy that, so how could you have had it without feeling bloated and sluggish and kind of upset with yourself after? Maybe you could have had half the portion. Maybe you could have foregone it completely because maybe the day before you kind of went a little bit overboard and overate, right? So that's something important to kind of recognize. Following that is always the next question. So question number 4 is, how do I feel? That's the biggest question I have my clients ask. Like, I ask them, how do you feel about that? How did that food option make you feel? Even like certain situations, like when they're stressed out at work, how did that feel for you? And then, that's really for them to kind of pause and slow down and pay attention, because most of us are usually running around, hustling from A to B. We're not even paying attention to how food makes us feel. Okay. So using that as feedback, we then can create a nutrition plan that works for us. Okay. So an example might be, so you have a really, really stressful day, and you come home and you ate healthy, but you scarfed it down so fast you almost forgot about it. And so you say to me, I had this meal, but it felt super, super rushed, and I actually didn't enjoy that. So see how they kind of go into each other? So then the suggestion from me might be, okay, so now we know next time, really take, 5 minutes before you eat to really slow down, take a breath, be present. And maybe for you, although eating on the go, although it's better than skipping meals, maybe we really need to focus on your action item for the week is sitting down and being present with meals so you can truly enjoy them for what they are. Okay. And then the last question always to ask is do I feel, so kind of going off of, when I mean do I feel for number 4, that's more of like, do I feel guilty? Do I feel upset? Do I feel stressed out? Do I feel anxious? Like, I mean like your actual feelings. The next question, the last question is, do I feel tired or energized, right? So if you're now feeling like you want to go take a nap, you probably overate or ate something that was like super fried and not something super nutritious. But if you feel energized after your meal and you feel satisfied and like, you know, it can get you through for the next few hours, that's something that means that you probably ate something very well balanced, nutritious, and not too heavy. Okay? So those are kind of the main questions. So I'm going to repeat it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how hungry am I? Following up, did I need that? Following up to that, did I enjoy that? Following up to that, how do I feel more on an emotional level? And then the last question, how do I feel on a physical level? Okay? So those are the 5 questions that you want to ask yourself around time of eating to make sure that you're creating the best nutrition plan for you. So once you identify the answer to these questions, practice responding to them differently than you have before. What I mean by that is like, so if you, every time you eat a very large meal, you now feel really upset, you feel bloated, you're like, why did I do that? But you keep repeating that habit and behavior, we can't expect you to change, right? So when I say practice responding to them differently than you have before, we now have to be proactive and think about, okay, if every single night at dinner, I come home and I eat the refrigerator and it goes through the cabinets and completely overeat and then sit here with these feelings, what can I do differently? And so maybe that's have breakfast, or maybe at night when you feel like you're going to go for seconds for dinner, instead of going for seconds, you now create your breakfast or you pack your lunch for the following day. And now we start to incorporate eating more during the day so you don't overeat at night, okay? So if you notice that over-consuming fried foods makes you feel sluggish and tired, start preparing your foods grilled, baked, broiled, or steamed. If you notice your energy improves when you cut back on the rice, listen, I didn't say eliminate it completely, you just cut back, and maybe you eat more like non-starchy vegetables, then make an effort to fill half your plate with veggies and maybe just make a little bit less room for that rice and balance it with that protein, right? So these are just simple ways that you can start to create kind of your own nutrition plan, right? Going back to the original question, if I could only give one piece of advice about how, like one basic concept that everyone can follow if they want to create if they want to be successful with their weight loss or their well-being, it's instead of following a meal plan, instead of following a diet, follow how foods make you feel. I will repeat that over and over again. I have some exciting news coming soon, so I'll teach you more about where this concept is going to go and how I'm going to actually really expand on it and really help you guys to utilize this. But for now, I thought I'd leave you with these 5 basic questions. If you have any follow-up questions or any comments, please feel free to reach out to me, tipswithtoni@gmail.com. If this resonated with you in some way, if this helped you in any way, please screenshot it, screenshot the episode, share it on your story, tag me at TipsWithToni on Instagram. Also have the Tips with Toni podcast on Instagram. If you're not part of our healthy lifestyle support group, you definitely want to join. The link is in the bio. And if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, you want to go to www.tipswithtoni.com/coaching. So I do believe that everyone is able to create their own nutrition plan on their own. However, if you're not consistent, if you don't have anybody holding you accountable, and obviously if you work with a professional, I'm going to help you get there a lot faster. So my program is a minimum 6-month commitment. And although that sounds like a really long time and a really big commitment, trust me, 6 months of your life will fly by so quickly and you'll be so happy that you did it, because by doing it alone, sometimes people are working at this for years and years on end. And instead of doing it for years and years on end, you can consistently do it for 6 months and have these healthy habits for a lifetime. So once again, if you're interested in working with me one-on-one, it's an online nutrition coaching program. You go to www.tipswithtoni.com/coaching. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, this is Toni Marinucci, your registered dietitian, helping you get healthy one bite at a time.